Hey you guys, as promised, I'm back with another update to my faith journey. And yes, your girl about to smash this kale salad from Chick-fil-A with these grilled chicken nuggets. I drizzled a little honey on top of it, and now I'm about to put this zesty buffalo sauce. If y'all don't know nothing about that, y'all sleeping on it. Oh, and if y'all don't know nothing about that key lime lemonade, like y'all. And I don't even drink on a daily basis. I consume water mostly. Like that's all I pretty much drink. Like even if I go to the restaurant and they ask me what I want to drink, I want water. But every now and then, if I do decide to have a drink other than water, then it's definitely going to be this key lime lemonade from Chick-fil-A. So if y'all sleeping on that, yeah, you might want to wake up, okay? But anyway, yo, so I have a good bit of things to talk about on today. So yesterday was Sunday. I went to church. It felt so good to be back at my church home and to be in an atmosphere that I'm used to, where I can just praise and worship in the way that God has, called me to do so. Like my praise and my dance, the way in which I worship God has completely shifted since I've been part of the Spirit and Truth family. It wasn't like that initially, but the deeper my relationship got with God, and once I got filled with the Holy Spirit or the tongues, things just my praise just kind of started looking different. And so, but yeah, so it felt good to be back in an atmosphere where I can just express myself that way before the Lord. So yeah, it was great to see some faces that I hadn't seen in a while. And shout out to my good sis Monica and Tawanda. We went to lunch at Red Lobster after church. And thank you, Tawanda, for covering my meal. And thank you just to the both of you ladies for the amazing conversation that we had. It felt so good to kind of sit down and reflect on some things. And thank you, because they weren't too emotional, so they didn't have me in my emotions, because I definitely have been trying to be strong. I don't want to be like all sad and emotional and stuff. Like it's already a challenging transition that's taking place, and I'm doing my best to stay in good positive spirits because I don't want to be like down and depressed. So yeah, shout out to them. Thank you guys for that. And my pastor was sure to shout me out at the 10 o'clock service. But of course, he had to do so and stay true to himself. So he had to throw a little shade. He was like, welcome home, back where you belong. So he had to throw that little shade. But I gifted my pastor with, I gave him a gift as well as a card to kind of give him an update. Because we had been speaking, but he's always so busy. So I really hadn't had an opportunity to update him and let him know what the Lord was telling me and putting in my spirit. So I did so within the card. I don't know if he's had a chance to read it just yet. So Pastor, if you're watching this video, I hope and pray that you've read my card. Because I kind of think that Pastor didn't think that, I think that Pastor thought that I was back to stay. And so I don't know just yet if he knows that I'm actually wasn't back to stay, but I'm actually leaving back out. And I just want you to know, Pastor, that I love you so much. I thank you just for, your great leadership. I have grown so tremendously in my spiritual walk with God, being under your leadership. And so I'm just so thankful and grateful to you. I am honored to have you as my pastor. And although I will not be physically present at Spirit and Truth, I will definitely very much so still be a tithe paying member of Spirit and Truth. You are still my pastor, and I will definitely be present online virtually. So yeah, and whenever I'm in town, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be frequently. So yeah, so now that I got that out the way. But so today has been a very productive day. I started my day out like kind of rearranging some things in my sister's apartment, because we had to get rid of the furniture that she had and bring in my furniture and my decor. And I was the one that put together all her decor that she had already. So now it was just a matter of me keeping some of the elements she already had, bringing in some new elements, and just kind of rearranging things so that it fit and everything looks cohesive. So that's what I was doing this morning, while I was also at the same time waiting on some of these businesses to open up so I can handle my affairs. So I made a phone call to the tax commissioner's office about my license plate tag to find out, because my sis Stephanie was kind enough to go and take my car to get emissions done in California, which I then come to find out wasn't even necessary because they don't even accept it in Georgia from out of state. And so what I instead had to do was I had to do an out of state or out of area extension form, with the Clean Air Force, which is like the people that are over like the emissions. So I had to do like a notarized letter with some other documents and stuff like that. But it all worked out because I also called AT&T to disconnect my Wi-Fi service and turn in my Wi-Fi modem. So I had to go to UPS to turn in the modem, which I also had to get the letter notarized. And so it all worked out. And once I went and got the letter notarized and took all the documents they were requesting to the place, then they were able to enter it into the system, and then I was able to go to the kiosk and get my tag. So your girl got her updated sticker. That way I don't have to worry about being harassed. Because a lot of times when you are in another location, police will kind of harass you if they see you got an out-of-state tag, which I haven't had a problem. Praise the Lord, I haven't had that problem. But surely if I still had a 2025 sticker, that was going to give them even more reason to like harass me. So I'm glad to have a 2026 sticker. So yeah, got that taken care of. My flight leaves Wednesday morning, bright and early. I'm going to get to the airport at like 5 a.m. because I don't play when it comes to Atlanta airport. I'm not about to miss my flight. I've done that before. So I'm not about to take no chance. And I have like a 5-hour layover in Dallas. So, but it's cool because I'll get back to LA and like sometime in the afternoon, like a little bit before 4 p.m., which works out because Stephanie will be on that side, closer to that side of town. So it'll be convenient. I could just either Uber or Lyft to where she's going to be at, and then we can, ride back to my car together. So it all works out. I am trying to orchestrate a sit down with my loved ones tomorrow before I leave, because I definitely want to have a conversation with them so we can just sit and spend some quality time together before I do leave. And also see my grandbaby Noah. So I'm hoping and praying that all that works out tomorrow, but everybody's schedule is able to accommodate that. Because it's like the last opportunity that I'll be able to do that. And so, what else was I going to say? Oh, and I was having a conversation with one of my loved ones who was expressing to me that they were somewhat offended once they found out like about my faith journey. And it was because like I didn't come and have a conversation with them. And so I had to explain to them. But I think part of it was because they made an assumption that I had told other people in the family, but I didn't. So I had to let them know, like, no, you're wrong. Nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody. When the Lord put in my spirit back in October for me to quit my job, and I quit in November, and they were like, oh, you haven't worked since November. And I'm like, no. So, I had to explain it, and they were basically offended because I didn't come to them, and they felt like, oh, well, you should have been able to come to me and handle whatever opinion I had about the situation. Like, you didn't have to listen to me, or you didn't have to take my advice or whatever it was I had to say. Like, but you still could have heard me out and, communicated to me. So, like, they were offended, and I'm like, I needed them to understand that, like, it's not personal, it's spiritual. And so when I'm on this spiritual journey and I'm already learning how to hear from God, and it's terrifying because that's a new thing to me and it's the unknown, I'm already doubting and second guessing and questioning everything. So the last thing I need is to open my ears to other people that are going to have a human logic mind, and they're going to cause me to further doubt and question what it is I'm hearing the Lord is telling me to do. So, I'm like, it's not personal. It's just, this is what I had to do to ensure that I remained obedient to what I was hearing the Lord tell me to do. And so, but what I will say from that conversation is that you can kind of tell when there's side talks happening about you, because that person then shared with me how other people or another person had come to them asking them, oh, what's going on with Caressa? Have you heard from Caressa? How's Caressa doing? And it's like, you got my number. You could have called or text me yourself and asked me that. So I couldn't really understand why someone who had my number, who could very well reach out to me directly and ask me that, someone that's very much so present on social media, I'm sure that like there's plenty of talk going on about my journey. And it's cool. Like, I'm not offended. I know people are going to have their opinions. And it's like, God is going to get the glory at the end of the day. So I'm not even offended by opinions of other people, because I take myself outside of the situation, and I would likely have opinions as well. If I wasn't walking this walk and experiencing it firsthand, then I'm sure I would have an opinion about it. So it's cool. But I just didn't really understand why someone, like, it's like, did you really care? Were you really concerned with how I'm doing? Because if you were, then why wouldn't you just reach out to me directly?